guys, and welcome to another FPVguy video. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the new power player drones in the market. And of course, that is the Yuneec Typhoon-H. The H stands for hexa or 6 motors. So let's take a look at what we got. First of all, this is an enormous box, so I may have to back up a little bit so you can actually see this. On the front, you see the main product. One of the main sales points is hard to miss. The legs has been retracted and the camera can do 360-degree rotation. That is a serious power feature for a lot of people. Here you see the modes. You can do a circle flight around yourself. You can fly out somewhere and mark the point and then do a circle around that. You can also fly out to a point, like back out and do a selfie. You can do a pre-programmed route, and you can do follow me using the GPS in the controller or the magic wand, or you can do follow an object. So look at me. The camera is going to be looking at you and following you. Finally, over here, it has, of course, return to home. So let's move on to the box. I already emptied this, so this is a pretty big empty box. Inside the box was this kit of foam. If you take notice, it's already rounded, and this is actually intended to go into a prefabricated backpack that you can drop this entire set of foam into. And notably, the quality of this foam is significantly better than the foam we have seen from Yuneec before. So let's pop this open, and we're gonna go through what's in here together. Now, before I put away the lid, there is a little item up here, right there. It says Typhoon on it. I'm going to pull that out. Let's take a quick look. Inside here, woohoo! This is important stuff. Here is the manual, I believe. So included with this is a 16 gigabyte memory card. It's actually a micro SD, and you can see that here. If I just pull on that, here is the micro SD. On this is the manual and also videos how to set up and use this aircraft. So we got to hold on to that, putting that down right here. Lens cloth. I can't get it out. There. Here's a micro USB cable right here, and that is to charge the handset, the radio. Let's put that down and let's start digging stuff out. Let's go through some of the easy parts first. Here is the charger. The charger has a custom size down here, and you'll notice that the battery is asymmetric. It only fits down one way. I've already been playing with this, and one thing I notice is make sure you push it all the way down, otherwise you end up having it beep. Now, one of the very cool things, I'm going to take the battery back out so we can put that in and play with the aircraft. One of the cool things here is this also comes with a secret lighter charger. The secret lighter charger plugs right in on the side right here, like that. And so this basically allows you to plug this in and charge in your car. I tried this and I managed to charge a full battery in right about a little more than an hour. So that's not bad for being able to charge a battery on the go. Of course, I wouldn't mind having a 2-bay charger so I could charge more than one battery at a time, but that I'm sure can be arranged. Now, while we're pulling stuff out of the box, the next thing I've come across here is the regular power brick for charging from the wall outlet. Down on the back here, it has an international plug standard with ground, and somewhere here, I think this is the one, in this very neat little velour case. These things are looking a lot prettier than they did when I started flying these things. So here's the velour case, and what we found inside it is the power cord for the charger. So basically what you do is you just put it in right here and you're ready to go and charge. One thing that's important about this charger is it's 100 to 240 volt input, meaning you can adapt this cable to work pretty much anywhere you travel in the world. That is always very useful because both Yuneec only has to make one adapter for international use, but also you don't have to buy additional adapters when you travel. All right, and coming through here, the other thing that came out of the velour case is a nifty little neck strap. And notice there's two little on the end here. There is two hooks on each side. So that is a very nice little strap for the control radio. Right here, the next thing we find is an armband of sorts. Look at this, it's like an elastic thing for your Walkman. This is a waterproof pouch you can use to go swimming with the Follow Me controller for the Yuneec H. So this is really cool. This is a feature that's worth keeping in mind. This thing comes and is ready for you to go swimming, hiking, skiing, whatever you want, and shoot you in 4K. The waterproof pouch, of course, would not be worth a whole lot if it wasn't for the Vizard itself. The Typhoon Vizard, as you can see, it's printed right here. It is made so you can slide it into your garment, slide it on top of your backpack, and have this follow you. On the other side here is a sticker that basically says, I don't know if you can read that. It basically says, make sure to read the web page with instructions for using this before you attempt to fly the aircraft using the Vizard. So that has to be a different video. We'll come back and play with this. And for now, I'm gonna get rid of the warning label. Over here on the other side, I find an other velour pouch. That is Propellers. Check this out. There's actually a whole bunch of propellers here. I counted 10 of these, which means you have 4 spares in case you break one. As you know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I always like to have at least 2 full pairs of props. But 4 spare props is really a lot, and that should get you through flying. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably gonna want to have some more spares, and those you can get online at carolinadrones.com, and they cost about $20 for a set of 3 props. You're gonna want 3 right hand and 3 left hand too. For a complete set of spare props, you're out about $40. Well, that's almost all of it. We got the aircraft and the handheld radio controller left. Before we do that, there's also the quick start guide and all the documentation. If I pull that out. So that's all the information that's included. And let's just go through that really quickly. The empty envelope we don't need. Here is the quick start guide. That's basically the stepping through step by step, batteries, setup, function of everything. So everything you need to know to get started is in the quick start guide. Make sure you don't lose it, hang on to it. The next sheet is also quite important. This is information how to bind the Vizard to the Yuneec H. And one of the cool features here is you can actually control and drive the camera with the Vizard. So if you're looking at the screen over the shoulder of the pilot, you can turn and control the camera with the Vizard, or you can fly the Yuneec H aircraft using the Vizard. Then we have a quick thing here with the box content. We already know what's in the box. So next here we have the cheat sheet. Whatever you do, don't lose this, because this has all the information, LED status, and over here it has the blink codes that the aircraft can create, and it will tell you what these means. You want to keep this handy, and you want to make sure you take it with you when you fly. Actually, I was gonna say this would be very convenient if they printed that on the back side of the radio, so that we didn't have to have a separate card. But on the other side is the places not to fly and what not to do. So this is all the warnings, and it may be useful to keep it handy just in case. That goes along with this one here, which is the Know Before You Fly card. This has the basic information. Do not fly your aircraft above 400. Do be a member of a local club and make sure to inspect your aircraft before you fly. Don't fly on line of sight, and do not fly close to airports or manned aircrafts. Basically, flying around any manned aircraft is a no-no. Warranty information. The Vizard instruction manual. Here you have all the shortcuts for how to use the Vizard. But like I said before, the Vizard is so cool that's gonna have to be a video in its own right. And with that, It's time to pull the aircraft out. There you go, guys. This is an insanely cool aircraft. Together with the aircraft, let's also pull the radio out and turn this around. So here is the main radio. On top, it says right here, removal of this sticker means the operator has read the instruction manual and all safety precautions. So by removing this, you are basically telling Yuneec that you have read and hopefully agreed to most of the safety precautions. Let's go ahead and remove this. Now we can see. So let's get this out of the way so we can start looking at everything. Oh, one item left. This is like a sunshade that goes on top of the radio so you can get clear vision of the screen without glare from the sun. I'm gonna put this away since it's not sunshine in here. And here you can kind of see what the box looks like. It's a really well-made piece of foam. I'm really liking that. And I'm gonna have to be ordering the backpack for this thing because I have been wanting to take multi-rotors hiking with me. And this seems like a perfect way, except for I want where to put my water bottle. Well, let's get to it already. There's so much stuff to tell you about this thing, and that's kind of why this unbox is taking longer than it normally would. Well, here is the aircraft, and the first thing you obviously can't miss is the folding carbon fiber arms with a very cool and elegantly mounted motor here. These motors are very small compared to what we're used to see on large aircraft these days, but that's of course because there's 6 of them. The system folds out like this, all the way up, and you just basically push it and it's locked in place. So you go ahead and you can fold all of these out. And that's how fast it is to unfold it and get this ready. Before you fly, make sure you check that each of the arms is locked in place because you don't want to be flying with a loose arm. With the arms unfolded, let's take a look at the propellers here. And one of the things you'll notice immediately if you saw the Yuneec Q500 is that these propellers are a lot, and I mean a lot smaller. Look at these. These things are like about 3/4 size of the old Yuneec Q500 propellers. The Q500 was famous for slow moving and very quiet propellers. The problem with that, of course, was it was hard to change speed, and that could give it a tendency to twist a little bit in the air when it flew. These propellers are completely different. They are small, narrow, and high speed, and with that you get a much firmer lock in the flight. So this aircraft is incredibly firm in the air. Now, if you look at these propellers here, you'll see this has a silver ring and this has a black ring. So the silver ring, or white. So to install these propellers, what you basically do is just push them right on top here, down until they go down, and then you twist the motor until the lock comes back up. That's it. That's how easy it is, and you can proceed with the next one all the way around. Push them down, twist the motor until it's locked, and the next propeller is on. So it's incredibly easy to install propellers on this aircraft, which is something I really like, because that makes it okay to remove all the propellers when you wrap up and move to somewhere else. So to remove them, you push down and you twist. And let's do this one. You just push down, twist like that, and the propeller is back off. Of course, as usual, make sure you test that propellers are on firmly before you fly. I do think we can remove these little hang tags. This is the ones that warns you to keep your fingers clear of spinning propellers. And honestly, these are sharp little props that goes very fast, so do keep your fingers out of them. Now, if you look at the front of the aircraft, right here, you see the true ultrasonic transducers, or microphone and emitter. And if you look at them here, I don't know if maybe you can see it better there. This basically emits ultrasound while you're flying so that you can so it will avoid running into something. This is a feature you have to turn on after you get in the air. And you can choose to fly with these, and that will reduce the aircraft's flight speed to match the range of the obstacle avoidance. However, if you turn it off, you can fly a lot faster. Of course, then you also have to be aware you have to brake on your own before you fly into something. An important detail, of course, is that these obstacle avoidance devices are facing forward. So if you fly backwards, it does not protect you from running into something behind you. So you always got to keep an eye on your aircraft and know where you're flying. Moving right along, here's the battery. It's a 4S 5400 milliamp battery. And if you take a look at it here, you will notice that this is asymmetric. The center here with the plugs is offset, so you cannot accidentally push it in the wrong way. It only fits one way, which makes it easier to use without mistakes. To install it, the first thing we have to do is turn the aircraft around so we can get to the battery bay. That was it. We have the battery in. Turning around and getting to the camera, you can see this comes with a protective device, so we're going to remove that. And before we can do anything, of course, we have to remove this film from the front lens, just like that. And of course, before we can film anything, we have to install the included memory card, the little 16 gigabyte SD card. We turn the camera, so we just basically turn the camera around like this, and up here you can see, it's actually a little bit hard to see, but right down here there is a little marker that shows the shape of the memory card, and that is where you stick it in and push it until it clicks and you're ready to go. So now we have the memory card and the camera is ready. I think we should turn this on. So to turn it on, the power button is right up on top here. Woohoo! We have got stuff powering up, and we've got white lights, green lights, red lights, blue lights, all the way around. And this is powering up. You can see the camera is now stabilized, and we're basically ready to roll. Oh, I can't forget this. Always turn on the radio before you turn on the aircraft. You do that right here by sliding this little switch, and now the unit is turning on, and it's gonna be powering up real quickly. Up on top here we have the radio and control antenna, and behind it we have the video connection antenna right here. The video antenna should be turned so it stands flat with the rest of the world. So if I'm holding it like this, the antenna should be sitting like that. All right, how's this? Now you can see the camera. And I have the remote right here, so let's go through the remote together. Way on the left corner here, we have the angle controller for the camera, and you can switch between angle control, which is what I have it in, and I prefer to fly it with angle control. That means when it's up, the camera is up, and when I dial it down, the camera goes with that. The other way of going is speed control, and now basically moving it down, it's going to continue going, but that tells it how fast you want it to go. So if you go up, now it's going up with a very slow speed. And if I go further, it goes faster. So that's speed control for the gimbal. Like I said, personally, I prefer the angle control, which basically means I know that it's in this position and it's gonna be looking kind of forward. Right next to it, you have the pan mode switch. And what that actually does is a little hard to wrap your head around. Right now, when it's pushed up, it's in follow mode. When I pick this up and I do like this, notice how the camera stays locked. And if I keep turning it, the camera follows the aircraft. So if you're flying and you're a single operator, that is really what I recommend to do. So the middle position allows you to use this button to turn the camera. And now you can see how the camera is panning to the right and back to the left. Now here's what's interesting about this particular, because now it's offset a little bit, but in the middle position, if I can get it up again, notice how the camera stands still. When I turn it, it has got yaw dampening. So it's still it's turned 45 degrees to the side, but it's following the aircraft being 45 degrees to the side. So now flip the pan mode switch one more time. Now we are in global mode, and that basically allows us to do continuous 360-degree panning. You can see the camera is going all the way around, and it's just going to continue going around because that's one of this. And it's just going to continue going around because that's one of the main features of this aircraft, that it has 360-degree panning, and your camera operator can look over your shoulder and control the camera using this wand. So that's a real cool feature. Now let's try to stop that. By the way, this dial here basically sets the speed for this panning. So as it goes, you can make it go really slow, and if you dial it more, it's gonna go faster. Put it back in center. Now here's a very important feature. If you're flying a bit out and you're not sure about the orientation and you don't remember what way the camera is pointing, so looking at the screen is just confusing you, you can fix that real quickly by pushing the pan mode all the way up, and watch that, the camera turn back to 100% forward facing. Now while we are on the left side of the radio controller, up on top here is the start button. Push it down and hold it to start the aircraft, and push it down again after the flight, after you have landed, to stop the aircraft. Moving to the other side here, we have the retract. So when you're in the air, you can flip this switch up and it's gonna make the legs come up, meaning the legs gets out of the way so that if you pan the camera around, you won't get the aircraft's legs in the picture. The next thing we find here is the OPS Avoid. Who on earth comes up with these abbreviations? But that's the obstacle avoidance. When it is up, that's when you start flying. It is off. Once you're in the air and flying in GPS mode, flip it down, and now obstacle avoidance is on. To the right of that, you find the same general flight modes as what you had on the Yuneec Q500. On top we have the smart mode, which you need to have adequate distance between yourself and the aircraft before taking off in smart mode. I really recommend flying in angle mode, which is the standard mode, and this is how most multi-rotor aircrafts are flown. And down on the bottom, flipping it all the way down, is the return to home. And as long as this radio is turned on and connected to the aircraft, this is called dynamic return to home, which means when you flip this down into H, the aircraft is going to try to return to where this handheld is. So if you have bicycled down the track or been walking somewhere or sailing with a boat, it's going to come back to where you are, not where you started the flight. However, if you lose power, I do suspect the aircraft will try to go back to where the trip started. So don't lose power. Make sure you always charge your controller to maximum power before you get going. On a Yuneec aircraft, the smart mode is essentially follow me mode. And when the aircraft is about 8 meters away from you, it can operate in smart mode. And basically, when you roll the stick left or right, it's going to come around you in a circle, and when you push it out, it's going to go away from you, and when you pull the stick back, it's going to come back towards you. Of course, on the left side, we have the throttle, the power to go up and down, and by moving the stick left or right, we get the aircraft to yaw or turn around. In smart mode, the stick on the right is always going to operate the same. Push it out, it goes away, push it back, it comes in, left goes to your left, right goes to your right. When you switch to angle mode, moving a stick to the right means the aircraft moves to the aircraft right, aircraft left, aircraft forward, and aircraft back. But flying in the angle mode is an acquired skill, so make sure you practice that right from the beginning, because that is how you can fly and have the most control. Continuing down here, we have trim tabs for both of the sticks, and here is start recording for video and start recording for still pictures is over here. And do notice this says Intel inside, so they've got a much faster processor in this Android tablet we are having here. On the backside right here, there's an incredibly cool feature. That is an HDMI plug. That is something I'm incredibly excited about, and let me show you why. Here is my Fat Shark goggles, and here's an HDMI cable attached to the Fat Shark goggles. Now, the way we connect this is very simple. We connect this right in here. So let's see if we actually get video out of it. I'm gonna power up my goggles. I don't know if you can see that. And there is video. So right now, I am seeing the same image as what I have on the screen here. All of the details, all the little details here comes up on the screen in my goggles. So I can fully fly this and use these goggles. So this is really cool. We are actually getting the video exactly as what we see on the screen in the goggles. Now, as you probably realized, there's gonna be some delay in this video transmission, so I don't recommend flying FPV with goggles per se, not unless you're above the tree line. However, having this big HDMI cable out right here, this is a totally standard HDMI cable, and that means you can plug into any big screen TV. So if you're on location and want to share this video with your camera operator, this is how easy it is. You could probably also plug this into a live broadcast. So I guess the last thing we have to take a look at is some of the features right here. On the screen up here, it shows us aircraft is ready, and it says that the obstacle avoidance is disabled. You can see if I turn it on and off. Down here is GPS calibration. The GPS calibration and the compass calibration is a whole little dance. Make sure you check that out in the manual. And moving down here, the camera offers 4 different video sizes: 4096 by 2160 and 3840 by 2160. Scaling down, there is a 2560 by 1440. Those are pretty much available as 24, 25, and 30 frames per second. Regular HD, which is of course 1920 by 1080, is available as 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60, and 120 frames per second. 120 frames per second is enough that you can do some pretty cool slow motion recordings with this 1080p camera. I could envision doing 1080 and slowing down, motorcycles jumping, cars racing, etc. Or maybe water skiers. Just don't get the aircraft wet. Now, one of the really cool things with this controller is that both of the antennas are external antennas. So they can be removed and replaced with directional antennas. Meaning you can basically unscrew this antenna like that, and you could replace it with a directional helical 5.8 antenna. What that's gonna do is it's gonna point out and give you video connections from much further out. And there's a lot of antenna kits out there, and carolinadrones.com has a really cool one, which is both the control link and the video antenna in one unit that attaches here, and you just basically attach the 2 screws, and that gives you rock solid video connection way past 1 mile. So that's probably a worthwhile upgrade. Wow guys, this was a very extensive and drawn out unbox, and I do apologize for that. To wrap this up, what I'm looking at here is what I think probably is one of the coolest new aircrafts this year. And I'm not gonna ignore the fact that DJI have a fantastic Phantom 4 in the market, but it looks like a Phantom. And you know, my nephew has one of those. And I do think if you do something like shooting real estate video or do video for the local television or similar, you probably benefit from showing up with an aircraft that doesn't look like a lot of other drones out there. The advantage here is you get the 360-degree turning camera, you get the retracts, and you get an incredibly professional presentation in a very nice aircraft. The package we're looking at here was of course priced to be competitive with other aircrafts on the market in the similar category. And I do think the compromise they have made here allows us to get into a very cool aircraft without spending a whole lot of money. Now, if you want more features, you can add the IntelliSense obstacle avoidance to the front, and that also gives you down-looking camera and ultrasonic height control. The IntelliSense obstacle avoidance is supposed to be somewhere in the range of $300. Where it ends up, we won't know till it starts shipping. So that's about it. I'm gonna put some props on it and go fly it. And I'm gonna get you some videos that shows how it flies. And we are also gonna talk more about on the blog about the actual video quality and make some uploads that you can check out and see what the video is like in real life. So stay tuned for that. Check out the blog at fpvguy.com, Also follow me at instagram.com/FPVguy. And of course, if you are in the market for a Yuneec H, make sure you go and visit carolinadrones.com. There's simply no place that has better customer service. That is pretty much where I get all of my drones and all of my propellers and spare parts from. So stay tuned for more videos and more information about the Yuneec H in the near future. Hehehe